everyone. Welcome to the Good Evening Kitties podcast, a Tales from the Crypt review. My name is Melissa, your ghostess with the mostest, and today's episode is Season 2, Episode 10, The Ventriloquist Dummy. I have back with me special guest Mike.
For my sins.
Yes, okay. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Thank you for being on here with me. I thought I'd have you on here again because this is another kind of fun episode that's kind of weird. So
yes, it's a good one.
That'll be a good one to have. Again, it's Season 2, Episode 10, The Ventriloquist Dummy. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the episode here. The synopsis for it is, who's the puppet? Who's the master? A wannabe ventriloquist discovers his idol's showbiz secret. Oh, snap. So, but yeah, this episode aired June 5th, 1990. So, as always, John Kassir does the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and Danny Elfman does the theme song. It was directed by Richard Donner, who also directed all of the Lethal Weapon movies, apparently. The screenplay was by Frank Darabont. It stars Don Rickles, which, I mean, is Don Rickles. Yeah. He's a big comedian and insult comic. And he also did a lot of the voices in all the Toy Story movies. He was Mr. Potato Head.
Yes, he was.
And then this also has Bobcat Goldthwait in it, and he's another type, comedian. He's also the crazy guy on Scrooged, if you ever saw that with Bill Murray. Mm-hmm. It was pretty funny. It's a good movie. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started here on the episode. And it starts out here with the Crypt Keeper, and he's got a box in his crypt, and he pulls out a ventriloquist dummy. Do you like dummies, Mike?
It's a similar thing to dolls in that they're a little off-putting.
Yeah, they're not. They're never my favorite.
It's not like a phobia or anything.
Yeah, I'm not really afraid. I just never wanted one.
And of course, the dummy's looking right at the audience.
So he goes basically to the doll. He calls it. His name is Dickie, and he says to the doll,
"Well, hello, Dickie. Would you like me to tell a tale from the crypt?" "No thanks, Scat Brat." "Then how about sitting a little closer to the fire?" "That's better."
It burns the puppet to death.
Crypt Keeper seems like the kind of fellow who would just buy something and then just, this doesn't work out, throw it away.
Yeah, he don't care about that doll. He probably
He's
just
mail-ordering
burn
stuff
anyway.
all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't ever use it.
So this episode starts out, and it's back in, I don't know, I guess like the 70s or 60s, and there's a show going on at this club, and Don Rickles is the ventriloquist, and he's got this doll named Morty, who's very Jewish. Morty. And he's got this great accent thing with it and everything. And they're telling all these jokes that are really, to me, they're super corny.
It's very vaudeville.
But everyone's laughing so hard. I don't understand. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, do you see it? So funny." And then he also would insult the audience in between, and it wasn't that funny. It was.
He seems to be getting rather insulted himself, though, losing his cool.
Not too bad. I mean, not too bad. He looks a little tired. But there's this kid there in the audience with little glasses there with his mom, and he's laughing really, really hard, too. He thinks it's a riot. He loves this ventriloquism. He wants to do it, too. He thinks this guy's the best. It's not much. The jokes aren't super big. It's
Ducks go quack quack, geese go honk.
Yeah, it's kind of like those kind where you do the ba-dum-tsh after each one's where you're like, okay.
But I can't tell the difference between ducks and geese.
It's very easy. Ducks go quack quack. Understand? And geese go honk honk. If a pack of birds fly over and they go honk honk, what do?
Pull over and let them pass.
So everyone's hysterically laughing, and maybe it's because they're drinking a lot of drinks. I don't know.
It's at least a 2-drink minimum in there.
Probably. So afterwards, the kid, whose name is Billy Goldman, comes up to him and tells the ventriloquist he wants to be a ventriloquist someday, and he's his hero and everything, and he gets a picture signed of the ventriloquist and his doll Morty.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Billy?
A ventriloquist, just like you.
Nonsense. He wants to be a doctor, don't you, Billy?
Hey, Bill. Anytime you need any advice or a few tips, feel free to look me up. Okay, kid?
Golly, Mr. Ingalls, thanks.
The ventriloquist, nicely tells Billy that, if you ever need any pointers or anything, hit me up, that's fine. And so he was so excited. So then it cuts to after the kid leaves, and the kid goes back home, and I think the kid lives fairly close to the club or to, I don't know, like a hotel where the ventriloquist is staying, I think. And there's a woman who's kind of hitting on the ventriloquist at the end and wanting to go out with him. And so basically Mr. Ingalls just kind of brushes this lady off, and he's like, I'm not feeling too well, I'm kind of tired and stuff. She's like, oh, come on, and so I guess they decide to go out. And so the kid's back at his house practicing his
shtick.
Yeah, his really bad ventriloquism with his hand, just like moving his hand around, and it's cute, you want to be stuff when you're little. And then I'll cross the street at the hotel there or whatever, it's lit on fire. And he runs over there and he's, calling his mom over there. And
like, how small a town is this that the kid is like right next to the hotel where the guy's staying?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Because because at first I was like, well, it's just a random house, burning. I didn't make that connection at all.
I think it was a hotel, or it was like the lady's house or something.
It
was something
they
where
don't make it entirely
but
clear.
It just so happened to be right next to where the kid was. So then you find out, that burnt down and everything, and apparently had something to do with Mr. Ingalls. And so shortly after that, he had to stop being a ventriloquist. So then it cuts to 15 years later.
Very suddenly, but then again, these are 26 minute episodes.
Yeah.
So
it cuts to 15 years later, and Billy Goldman's all grown up. Apparently, I looked up, because Bobcat Goldthwait, I like him with the ponytail. It's kind of nice.
He's always had long hair, though, hasn't he? So,
not anymore. Now he's bald or whatever.
Well,
He always had shorter. He didn't always have the ponytail. But I kind of like it. But at first I was like, man, he looks a lot older than... He's supposed to be 26. And I looked him up, and actually he's only 28.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I thought he was older than that, because he doesn't look...
It's the receding hairline.
Yeah, I guess it's that.
But that happens sometimes.
Yeah, so he shows up at Mr. Ingalls' cabin, like in the middle of nowhere, after 15 years, and wants to get some critique on his ventriloquist act. And you can tell he's probably not the most successful type of guy, I'm sure his mom was like, are you really doing this still, And he shows up with this corny little puppet that has little glasses on like him, and again, Mr. Ingalls is living in this place where it's all, like, all the windows are boarded up.
It's like a shack in the woods.
Yeah, but it's like all covered with newspaper in the windows. Like, he wants no one to bother him. And so he goes in and is able to sweet talk his way into getting to know Mr. Ingalls a little bit and talking to him.
I'm Billy Goldman. You said I could look you up.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it was 15 years ago. I was 11 years old.
And the guy's just like, you don't understand, that fire ruined my life, and I was never able to work again. And you can tell that his hand, something happened to his hand, which he did the puppet with, where it looks like it got burnt. He's got like a sock over it to kind of cover it up. So in a way that's kind of sad, really, when you think about it at the time, like in the beginning there, if you think about, like, if that was your good hand for doing that kind of thing and that was your livelihood, and then you burn only that part, in the thing.
Well, that's one of the first signs that something is not quite the way it appears on the surface.
Yeah.
Because if he was on a fire and only his hand got burned and no other part of him got, messed up, that's a little strange.
So he lives in this, like, really old cabin, and he's got all these pictures of like, all his performances and things like that.
People he knew in the biz.
And he's still got Morty up in a chest up in his loft. And Billy wants to take him down and look at it, which is really kind of rude. And Mr. Ingalls is like,
Billy
don't touch it.
Billy still has the mind of a child.
Yeah, he's so excited. This is like his only, this is like the celebrity he always wanted to meet, So he's excited. And so the girl that Mr. Ingalls was dating died in the fire at this, I guess it was at a resort, it looks like.
Yeah, he's reading newspaper clippings about the incident, which Don Rickles' character keeps around, I guess. But
well, if it was something that messed you up bad, I guess. But basically what Billy's wanting to know is there's an open mic amateur night tonight at the same club that Don Rickles Mr. Ingalls last performed at before the fire. And he wants to know if he'd come kind of watch and critique him and let him know how he was doing.
He wants him to tell him whether or not he's got the stuff to make it.
Let him know what's up.
To make it in the dog-eat-dog world of ventriloquism.
And so at first, Mr. Ingalls is kind of like against it, but then I think he could see how much Billy appreciated it, or would appreciate it, and so he was like, okay. So, really, it takes a lot for him to leave the house. He's kind of a shut-in. And plus, he's going back to the same place 15 years later where a whole bunch of crap went down.
So is it the exact same place?
This is the same club he played at. Not the place that burned down, but that's the last performance he did was at this place. So 15 years later, they're back at the thing, or at the same club, and there's an amateur night. There's a lady doing baton twirling to Camptown races.
Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long on doo-dah day.
And then there's another lady who's gonna who's gonna make
Play
music.
Musical glasses.
Yeah, musical glasses. And
there's a word for that. I just can't think of it.
yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a unique little talent, I think. I can't do it. And so Billy is getting all nervous, and he's looking out there, and he's looking for Mr. Ingalls, and he sees that he shows up, and he's super excited, which I think probably made him more nervous, really. Because he gets out there and he bombs hard. He bombs.
Well, it doesn't help that the entire audience is just a bunch of drunken louts who are constantly screaming anyway, so...
Well, they were
It's a
reaming
tough
him.
crowd.
They were reaming him pretty hard. But I mean, when you're a ventriloquist and it's, in the 90s and it's kind of past its prime a little, I think, you got to really knock it out of the park really good.
Whenever did... I mean, there's still ventriloquists around. So.
Yeah, but...
When did it ever... But I understand what you're saying. It's
But like
golden
vaudeville
age.
type stuff with it.
Like Charlie McCarthy, whenever that stuff ended.
But like what I'm saying is, you can tell right away when he starts to talk that he doesn't even... You can see his mouth.
Yeah.
Like it's
You
not
see his
even
mouth
like
moving.
he even has the whole thing down. So right away, I think that discouraged a lot of people. And then he tries to tell that joke of like, I just flew in here from Atlanta, and boy, my arms are tired, or whatever.
Well, the crowd finishes the
Yeah.
line for him because it's one everyone's heard.
The crowd's like,
Hundreds of times
and
before.
my arms are tired. And so he's just sweating.
I just recently flew in from New Jersey.
And then, to make matters worse, which I don't think he should have done, as he's sweating, and like even the puppet has a little matching outfit just like his.
So far, this episode is mainly just an exercise in cringe. It's like a Tim and Eric episode almost.
Yeah,
so it's sad. It's just sad watching this.
It's pretty sad.
But
then he makes a mistake, which I wouldn't have done. He brings up that Mr. Ingalls is there as a special guest, and before he can even finish, Mr. Ingalls just bows out of the room.
yeah,
like,
just puts them on the spot
Yeah.
though. So what do you expect?
because it's like, why would you do that?
I
That
don't
doesn't
wanna-
make your act better, and the fact that
I don't want to be associated with this.
well, and that Mr. Ingalls probably worked up a lot of courage to even leave his house. He doesn't want everyone to look at him.
Yeah,
And so Mr. Ingalls heads over to the bar,
as you do.
as you do, gets himself a drink. Some lady kind of propositions him as
An obvious lady of the night.
Yeah, she's definitely a
You look
sex
like my
worker.
grandfather has a special today on for family members. Like,
Yeah.
come on, it's so gross.
He's like, go away.
Hey, cutie pie, want to buy a girl a drink? You know, you're kind of cute. You look like my grandfather. Have a special today on family members.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Well, if you change your mind, I'm down there. Perk up.
And so they walk past, and there's like a couple making out and stuff. And then they walk, she sits at the end of the bar. So then Billy comes up to Mr. Ingalls, is like, I was terrible, right?
It's like,
And,
I didn't do the thing, did I?
and Mr. Ingalls is like, nah, you weren't terrible. He's like, yeah, okay, you're terrible.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm not gonna bullshit you. That was
he's
horrible.
like, it's pretty bad.
You're not cut out for this.
And so he's just like, find something else to do. Find something else you can do and things. And he's like, I'm really sorry it's not working. It didn't work out for you. I know it's your dream. And he's like, I know what it's like to have your dream crumble and your like dust in your hand, And so Billy's like, thanks. Which I thought, it was nice that he did come watch. And so then Mr. Ingalls is sitting there still at the bar. He's holding on to his sock hand, and all of a sudden he starts to talk to it.
Yeah.
And he looks really paranoid, or like really scared.
I was getting a real Doctor Strangelove vibe at this point. And in here, it's where you really, you know that, well, I mean, we're going to find out.
Well, yeah,
pretty
you're
soon,
like, what's under the
but,
hand? What's in the
yeah.
hand?
It's not a burned stump.
No. So he's like, no, talking to it like, calm down, calm down. And so then the hand kind of compels him to go back over to that sex worker and take her up on her offer.
Mm.
So then as Billy's leaving later in the night, walking back to his car at the club there, he throws away his dummy and he hears some screaming. And it's someone who found a woman's body in a car next to the club. And it's the woman that was propositioning Mr. Ingalls.
Mm-hmm.
And he, Billy sees it and kind of trying to figure out so he was trying to set the car on fire afterwards, And they were like, he killed her. If he murdered her, he did it horribly. And at first, I'm like, you mean he did a bad job at killing her? Or he just horribly killed her?
Well, he means the first, because the whole thing is doused in gasoline. But obviously, he starts screaming at everyone, not to smoke, nobody smoke. Oh.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, I thought he handled it well. He took off his coat and covered the lady up so no one had to look at her. And then
he's interfering with a crime scene,
I know, but then he told everyone not to smoke because it smelled of gas and, just don't. And so I think somehow he knew, like, right away what had, it kind of occurs to him what happened. So he heads back over to Mr. Ingalls.
Because he knows where this guy lives now.
Cabin. And when he comes in, Mr. Ingalls is injecting morphine into his arm. In the same arm that has the hand that's all bandaged up. And at first, Billy's like, oh my gosh, you're a druggie. Of course you are. All this stuff, and getting all mad at him. What's going on? What happened? And then he's basically like, you killed that woman, right?
He says, no, I didn't kill her. I didn't.
At first he's like, that's why that fire happened 15 years ago, because you killed that woman and then you covered it up, now you're doing it again. And so Mr. Ingalls is like, no, it wasn't me who did that to all those poor women, which implies there were more than her.
This implies multiple fatalities over the course of his career.
And Billy's like, you smell like gasoline and all this stuff. And so they're fighting and arguing, and it's kind of sad at one point because Billy's like, if people can help you, we can get you help and stuff. And
he starts to think he's generally crazy.
Yeah, or that he's just, and so he's like, who killed him? And so
Morty killed her. What, the dummy? Oh, come on.
Yeah, so that's what Mr. Ingalls is saying. He goes, Morty killed him. Or Morty. Morty killed him.
There's Rick
so
and Morty flashbacks whenever he says that.
That's not how he says Morty.
That's how they did it first, though.
Oh, did
he? In the pilot.
Hey, Morty.
Morty.
So he's like, who? And he's like, Morty killed him. He's like, oh, come on. That's your pup. And he's like, oh, okay, well, maybe Mr. Ingalls is crazy. So he kind of wants to explain to him, like, no, here, I'll prove it to you. He goes up to get the doll. He's pulling the doll out. He's like, look, it's just a doll. But all he pulls out is, like, some clothes.
Yeah.
It's, like, doll clothes and, like, a piece of the mask of the doll. And it's missing, like, the whole body of the doll.
Yeah. Or the whole head.
Yeah, the whole head of the doll.
And here's where the audience's suspicions are about to be confirmed.
Yeah, and like as he's going through and looking through Morty's bag, Mr. Ingalls starts to get like that look in his eye where something's making him do it, and he grabs this cleaver off the wall, and he's gonna take out Billy. So he goes to hit Billy and misses, hits the wall, and he's like, you know what? Mr. Ingalls is fed up. He's like, you know what? You wanna see what's doing all this? And he pulls off the sock on his hand, and underneath is this grotesque, kind of cute,
This
but
is where
weird.
the episode basically jumps up in quality.
Well, it's definitely also like, hey, this is a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah, we're being reminded that
which is the best.
This is Weirdland.
And it turns out on his hand is his conjoined twin, Morty.
Morty's like me. He's real. He's flesh and blood. In fact, Morty is my brother. My brother is dead. Morty! We're born like this. I guess we were meant to be twins, but nature can work in a cruel way sometimes.
And Morty is basically a squishy face with big eyes and hair, and then he's got like two long
The reveal is so good because Don Rickles is like, and then on the end of his hand,
yeah, he's got these big eyes. His eyes are messed up. And he's this little
great.
mouth and this bumpy head with all this hair. Like, look up.
These fingers.
Season 2, episode 10.
Yes, like this is where we as a podcast we can show you.
You have to
what
look it
this
up.
looks like.
But the worst part is his little
messed up.
hands. He's got these two shriveled carrot-looking things.
They're fingers. They look like fingers.
Yeah, but on the end of them are like little hands. So I think those are his arms with little hands.
Like nubbins.
Yeah, he's got little arms with little nubby hands.
Well, they're using multiple puppets here, I'm pretty sure.
The puppet's great. But so basically, they had grown up like that, which when I was thinking about this after the episode, can you imagine being a kid with your little brother attached to your hand?
That'd be a nightmare.
Like, I'm sure he couldn't go to school, because he's probably, like, his kids would, and I'm also surprised his parents...
He was definitely homeschooled.
I'm also surprised his parents never just cut him off, really, but... it's just weird. I guess maybe because it was his brother, he wanted to keep him. But they're kind of connected in a way. So, like, if Morty gets too powerful, he can make Mr. Ingalls do things.
Right.
And so...
It's implied that he has mind control.
Yeah, or they're kind of connected. And so...
Goes hand in hand with the classic definition,
Yeah.
fictional definition of a freak. Like, to compensate for their physical abnormalities, they have mental powers. That's kind of what they're getting at here.
Well, and the thing is, too, the ventriloquist this whole time has been drugging up Morty with morphine to keep him calm, because when he gets too crazy, he can control Mr. Ingalls. And so when Billy slapped the morphine out of his hand, that was like the last he had. So now Morty's like all over the place, and he's upset, and he's got this little bitty voice like, "Hey guys, I'm Morty," you know, like a kind of thing. And apparently Morty is very upset because well, in the act that they decided to go into this kind of work because of their situation, what they would do is they put like a mask of a dummy on top of Morty's face, because his face is really bad.
Yeah.
And then they would just he would stick that hand up through the doll, and then Morty would do all the jokes, and then they were able to do it. But so Morty was very mad because he pretty much wrote the act. Mm-hmm. He wrote the ad-libs. He wrote everything. And he was never able to get with any ladies.
He was the brains of the outfit.
And that's what he was so mad about, because Mr. Ingalls was always getting the women talking to him, and Morty would get so mad at all these women because he could never be with them.
He hates women. He's never been able to have a woman in a normal way. Oh, I try to stop him, but there's just no reasoning with Morty. He's very willful.
So jealous.
So he hated all women, and he was forcing Mr. Ingalls to kill them.
Yeah, I mean, Morty really is a major proponent and groundbreaking member of the men's rights movement.
And so Morty is just, mad and telling Billy all about this stuff and what has happened, and finally Mr. Ingalls just can't take it anymore. So he's like, you know what? I can't calm him down anymore. He's very willful. I can't do this. And he takes that cleaver, and he's like, I'm going to cut my arm off. I'm cutting him off, which I'm kind of surprised he hasn't done it yet.
Until then, he's entirely on Morty's side, and Morty's like egging him on as he's going after Bobcat. Just saying, go on, stick him, yeah!
Well, yeah, Billy, he's still after Billy, but after Mr. Ingalls hears about how Morty feels about being, like, the main guy in the act, he gets even more mad, and he cuts Morty off. So Morty is free, which... he doesn't apparently need anything else to live. He doesn't need a stomach or anything. He's still alive.
Yeah.
So he cuts Morty off. It's kind of gross. Kind of gross how he cuts him off.
This is visceral.
Yeah.
This is and the bizarre kind of grossness of the doll makes it even worse.
Well, and then Billy holds Mr. Ingalls' stump for a second, which I'm like, yeah, why would you touch the stump? Yeah, it's pretty bloody.
There's blood going everywhere. He's sawing off the
Not
Morty.
even saw. He's just chopping. And he tried to tie off his arm, but he didn't really do a great job. So there's blood everywhere. So then Morty gets free, and he's still. Oh, he's God. So creepy.
Freeze frame on it's little weird O face.
Yeah, I freezed on him and he looks like he's throwing out some dank rhymes.
Dank rhymes
is
a thing.
My name is Morty and I'm here to say I'm gonna fuck you up in an evil way.
Oh, thank God they didn't actually try to do one of those awful 90s rap kind of numbers over it.
Crypt Keeper, though, the Tales from the Crypt did do a Christmas album.
They did. Oh, yeah. Man. They would.
Which, they changed the lyrics to be, evil, And so Morty's free, and so Billy's trying to kill Morty, and they're fighting. And so in that, Morty flies forward and grabs Mr. Ingalls by the jugular. Well, not even the jugular, just the front of his throat, and bites into it, and it's real gross. and pulls it up and kills him pretty easily. I don't even think he really bled out, just rips out his throat. So Mr. Ingalls is dead. And so Morty is running free in this cabin, and Billy's trying to kill him. But then this kind of turns into a weird slapstick comedy. As soon as Morty gets free,
it already was though. All the way through it, it's the humor is very much like Evil Dead.
So Morty's trying to kill him.
What an ugly bastard!
You inbred fucking Cabbage Patch Kid!
You're a real schmuck!
I'm gonna turn you into brain fucking pie!
Hey, Mom! Whoa, 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 whoa!
And so there's this scene that comes up here where, for some reason, Mr. Ingalls has a meat grinder.
Yeah, there's a meat grinder in the middle of his living room. So, with the cleaver, come on.
And so he hits Morty, makes him pop in the air, hits Morty after hitting Mr. Ingalls in the face accidentally. And he lands in this meat grinder, and it's kind of gross because...
Right in the meat grinder. Okay, so oh man.
It's gross.
While you can even see the meat coming out of the meat grinder as he's grinding Morty up. And all this time, Morty's trying to reason with him.
This is the best. Billy goes, I'm making an asshole casserole, pal, and you're the main ingredient. And so, but he's this poor, you feel kind of bad for it because he's grinding him, and he's like, it hurts, it's killing me, and he's holding him in there. and everything. And so eventually Morty kind of makes a deal with them. He's like, hey,
I'll do anything you want. Anything. I swear.
if we could go into the same business together.
No, this is a bad idea.
You know, do you want to be
why
a famous ventriloquist? Let's do this.
As he's grinding him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. There's meat coming out of it. He's half made out of sausage already. And he's still trying to reason with him.
And so Billy's like, you know. So then it cuts back to the same club, because this is the only club ever.
The only club in existence.
And they're back there, and everyone's laughing and having a good time. And Morty's back up there in his puppet outfit. And Billy's up there, and he's in a nice suit. And they're doing their act. And Morty can't control himself.
No.
And this
attractive woman.
Yeah, this attractive woman walks in and sits, and right away Morty starts throwing her into the act and saying more and more kind of creepy sexual things about her.
I want to see a ventriloquist dummy with a kind of a lustful male gaze. And I could do without seeing that, in my dreams.
Well, the problem is, because she's trying to be cool about it. She's kind of like laughing it off and stuff. But some of the stuff is getting a little too much to where it's going to start making Billy look bad, because everyone's like, well, yeah, Billy's doing it. So he's just being a creep, And so they start getting a fight, and they're like on stage, and they're like, stop it. He's like, come on, stick to the act. And Morty's like, you shut up. I like this lady, and all this stuff. So they kind of get in a fight, and somehow during this part...
Yeah, this makes no sense to me at all.
During this part, everyone's kind of quiet now and watching it, like almost in horror. And Billy starts screaming, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And apparently, what he's doing is he's like leaning back into Billy's hand and kind of squishing his softness into it so that they become connected. So then he's like, I'm renegotiating our deal. He's trying to like combine them, which really you could just get him taken off anyway. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It makes no sense. Like, basically, he's fusing.
And so Billy's screaming, and everyone's getting really worried. And so they're starting to get up and leave. So he rips off the puppet. And I like this guy here in the front, because he doesn't even get up. And
this is part of the act, right?
Yeah, this guy here's just like leaning back. And so he rips the puppet off, and you can see where like Billy's hand is squeezed up through the bottom of Morty's puppet. I don't know why that would make a difference and why that would hurt Billy and not...
He's absorbing Billy's hand, basically.
I guess that's what it is.
That's the only thing I can...
Because I don't see why it would hurt Billy and not hurt Morty. But so he exposes himself to the audience. And right away the audience is like, whoa, like, really... I don't know if people would normally think that was just part of the act.
But not now.
But I don't know, you would maybe think it'd be like a morbid like type act, But like maybe the fact that Billy's screaming the way he is.
The brand of humor is very straightforward. It's vaudeville. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing experimental. So this is coming completely up left field for these people. They know it's not part of the act.
But I love like there's like two people in the front that are just like, this is crazy, and just sitting there like, why is everyone leaving? And everyone else is leaving the show, and they're screaming. He's like, look like we're stuck with each other and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, not really.
Well, now you have no career.
Yeah,
Morty.
You kind of exposed yourself.
So
it's basically how the episode ends. So it was great. That last part was a little off, but it was still really fun.
It's in keeping with Tales from the Crypt logic,
I guess. And so so that's the end of the episode. We won't know what happened to Billy, but it cuts back to the Crypt Keeper, and he's hanging out with Dickie, his puppet, who is now burnt to a crisp.
He deserves a big hand, don't you think?
Yeah. Crypt Keeper, you're so punny. The best Crypt Keeper pun is...
Billy deserves a big hand, don't you think? Sheesh, the things some folks will do to get ahead in show business.
Oh, get it? Ahead. Because Morty was ahead. So yes, there's a little bit of trivia here for this episode. Richard Donner, who is the episode's director, has a cameo as the guy talking to the lady at the bar that they kind of start kissing. And the woman that he's kissing is actually Don Rickles' daughter, who is sitting right next to him. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Seems a bit sleazy if you ask me.
They were like making out. It was just like
no, the director's like, I get to make out with your daughter, Don Rickles, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No. And the name of the ventriloquist, Mr. Ingalls, is a reference to a legendary horror artist named Graham Ingalls. Ingalls is best known for his work of The Old Witch from the Haunt of Fear, which is a sister title of the Tales from the Crypt published by EC Comics. Mm-hmm. After the horror comics were vilified and ceased to be published in the mid-1950s, Ingalls relocated to Florida and became a recluse. Although he taught art lessons and was well regarded in his community, friends and former associates were clueless as to where his whereabouts were, or even if he were still alive.
So it's definitely a tribute to this man.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And so that's basically the episode. The next episode is going to be Season 2, Episode 11, Judy, You're Not Yourself Today. Michael, thank you so much for being on the show.
It was a pleasure.
It was fun. And everybody out there, you know what I like? I like 5-star iTunes reviews. So if anyone out there want to give me some 5-star iTunes reviews, I've gotten a couple. It's been great. And I would love a lot more to help bump me up on the charts on iTunes. You can also find me on Stitcher, Podbay, Podbean, and I'm on Google Play as well as iTunes. If you have any questions or comments or anything about Tales from the Crypt you want me to read on here, or any new articles about it, you can send an email to goodeveningpod@gmail.com. And again, thanks for listening.
All right, have a good one.
I just had quite a scare. I actually thought my heart was beating.